Let's welcome to the media center Lucas Herbert of Ripper Golf Club. Lucas, well played today, 8 under 64, currently in the lead. Please just take us through the round, how you felt about the course, and particularly, a course that is viewed as being quite a challenging test. You seem to get after it pretty well today.
Yeah, thank you. Felt great. I felt obviously played great out there. I didn't miss too many shots. I'll be honest, I hadn't seen the front nine until today. Sort of been pretty sick earlier in the week and only got to play the back nine in the Pro-Am yesterday. So, today was my first sort of assessment on the whole golf course. And like you said, it's very impressive. I don't know if there's many better tournament venues on a piece of land that's essentially flat, aside from the first and the 18th there. And, basically no trees in play. Within the US anyway, I haven't seen too many better tournament venues. So it's in a phenomenal condition. It's a real treat for us to come here this week. Where I think all the players are very grateful to be here at the Trump course. So it's nice to play well on a good golf course.
You started the season with 3 top tens, including 2 team wins, obviously. Last 2 events, you didn't have the results that you were looking for, but what can a start like today, do for your confidence this stage in the season?
Yeah, I don't know that my expectations could have been any lower than what they were today. Having not seen the golf course, feeling pretty under the weather, been struggling with a back issue for a couple of weeks. I've been struggling with my game. Definitely the last few events, but I think over the last 12 months, I developed some habits that I wasn't happy with, and I'm just sort of starting to get my teeth into fixing those. So, I think my goal was to try and feel like I made some progress on those this week. Strangely, here I am sitting here in front of you with a 2-shot lead after the first round.
How often is it that you're entering a professional tournament having not played the course at all heading into the opening round?
I'd say it's rare now on Live. We with a schedule the way it is, we quite a lot more often afforded the time to be able to get out here and prepare properly for each event. And I think had I not been under the weather pretty badly on Tuesday, I would have done that. It definitely wasn't a lack of interest in being out here that stopped me, but I couldn't tell you the last time I hadn't played at least 9 holes. I don't think I've ever played the course blind. I've at least played 9 holes. I think maybe back in my days playing on the PGA Tour, we might have done it. But to me, it feels like I'm giving up a big advantage. Well, it's a big disadvantage, really, to not have played the course before you head out there. So it's not something I would do very often, but in a way, it felt like maybe a little bit of a positive today because Pewey, my caddy, can give me some lines off tees, and I can occasionally go a little rogue from them if I know the course and feel a little more comfortable left or right of those lines. Whereas today I had to stick to those pretty strictly because I didn't know where I was going.
Go to the floor, Mike.
So Lucas, there's a U.S. Open spot on the line this week. I think you're actually projected now in that 3rd spot. Have you thought about that? Is that something that you've, kind of keeping tabs on this week?
I think I heard it announced on the putting green today that it was after this event that the cutoff was going to be for that spot, and for about 2 seconds wondered whether a win would be enough to do that. Other than that, no. I got to where I am today pretty much not really caring where I was on the leaderboard, just trying to make progress with my game and my golf swing and be in a good frame of mind, hitting shots. I think I'm going to try and stick to that for the next 3 days because it seemed to work so far. I think there's a lot of players in the media recently have said that good play fixes everything. So, yeah, I'll try and take care of the good play, and I'll see where it gets me.
And then going back to what you said about relying on your caddy for all the shots. Now that you've seen the course, do you think you might stray a little bit the next 3 rounds, or are you determined to like just whatever he says you're going to do?
I think there's just little things like there might have been a pin near a runoff today that he's like, oh, it can be a little bit dicey over there. And then you play it and you're like, oh, it's actually not as bad as I thought. So there's maybe a couple of little things like that around greens where it's more a matter of an opinion as to whether he can't look at a shot and be like, oh, Herbie will like that or Herbie won't. He's kind of guessing a little bit. That would be the only thing that would change. Like he's an unbelievable caddy. He's nailed every single line off every tee that we've played, not only this week, every other week. So it's probably a lesson to me that I should listen to him and stick with what he's got planned for me more often than I do.
And I have to ask one last question. Obviously, Leash lives a few hours away from here. I assume you've visited him at Virginia a few times. Have you ever cut his yard?
Yeah, we played his charity day, the Begin Again Foundation Day on Monday. That was I think it was my 3rd time playing that event. So we've been up there and visited him there and seen kind of how his life all looks. Obviously hung out with his family, played a variety of sports in his backyard. I don't think I have the qualifications to mow Leash's backyard. I think you got to be, you got to be a lot more qualified than me anyway to get on the back of a mower and push that around his backyard, because it doesn't get much better than the hallowed turf of the back of Leash's yard.
Right, thanks.
Lucas, you led in strokes gained approach today. Did that feel like that's the best iron play you've had in a long time?
Yeah, it's a tricky one to almost judge because I just didn't. It wasn't like I felt like, oh, I'm flushing it today. I can aim at anything. I was genuinely really, really struggling with my game earlier in the week and working pretty hard on a lot of stuff. And I think I did a really good job of executing that today, but in no way did I feel, I guess, confident doing it. So I think you look back at the way I played today, and it's like, oh yeah, I executed a lot of shots really, really well. Did I have a lot of confidence over them? No. I think I'm going to take a lot of confidence out of today. But potentially as well, I think I was probably a little more conservative with targets, given the state of my game, and probably not having the confidence to hit it into the little corners that the pins often are tucked into. So, I feel like there's a lot of voices in my corner probably telling me to learn from this one.
And Leash talked about how, he was comfortable around the greens because they're so fast, being an Australian. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, it's funny. There's a familiarity of the greens, even though we don't get rough anywhere near this thick in Australia. I would say there's a little bit of grain in the grass, even though it's a bent winter grass kind of type of grass on the greens. There's still a little bit of grain in it, which is not something I grew up with either. We didn't really have any grain around the greens playing in the sandbelt in Melbourne. So even though there's that, there's still a familiarity there. I think that the greens are starting to firm up today. There's a little bit of rain in the Pro-Am yesterday that softened them, but I think by the weekend they'll dry out quite a lot, and maybe that's the familiarity there because, I was joking with GMAC and Kenny's caddy today that I didn't fix my first pitch mark until I was 22 because the golf course is so firm down in Australia. So I think that's maybe where it is. But I know the boys talked earlier, whether it was last week or earlier this week about I think we won here last time in 2023. I wasn't on the team, but I think the Rippers won here. Well, they might have been were they Ripper or Punch back then? But I think Ripper won back in 2023 here, and the boys all said, "Great golf course. It'll suit us really, really well." So there's something about this place that we really like and is quite familiar.
And you have a world-class short game. You're always up there in putting, but the last few events prior to this one, you're kind of struggling putting. Do you think that's due to the speed of the greens and kind of what you're used to, and that maybe it was too soft?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of went to the lab golf side of things at the end of last year, and that's been a bit of a process to get right. I think it's some real value in it, and today's a good example of that. I felt like I was able to start the ball on line really, really consistently from all ranges. I don't have any deal with them or anything. I'm not trying to sell their putters, so this might sound like a sales pitch, but they're not a putter that you can pick up on Tuesday on the putting green and start putting with in the tournament. They take a bit of adjusting, but when you get adjusted to them, I think they're really, really good. So that process is just taking a while. They have a lot of options with the way you can design, I guess, the alignment lines and different colours on everything, and it's just taken a few goes to get it exactly right for what I kind of need. So I feel like I'm now at a point I'm pretty comfortable with what I'm using on the greens, and I was able to get pretty external today and really feel like I was getting the ball started on line rather than worried about the sort of stroke I was making.
And the faster the greens, the more important it is to get it started on the right line. And did you feel like that was the case? You just had to get it started, and the green would kind of take it there because they were so firm? Yeah,
definitely. I think they're really true greens. It didn't feel like we had any head scratches out there when it comes to reading them. They're really, really true and really good quality surface. Even throughout the day, they didn't deteriorate at all with the field going through them. It's a real tip of the cap to the green staff here and everyone involved with getting the whole golf course, getting it set up the way it has for this event. It's a real treat for us to play here this week.
Thanks.
Lucas, last one, we'll get you out of here. You've spoken about this before in other markets that we visited around the world, but for those that are still just becoming familiar with Live Golf's team concept, can you just share what it means, what this experience being on a team has meant for you, whether that's on the course, off the course, personally, professionally?
It's tricky to answer as a consumer because I'm not a consumer. I'm part of it. Being a part of it, I see some of the feedback online that it might come across as seeming fake, but it's not. It really is genuine. We really enjoy traveling together, getting dinners together, playing practice rounds together, feeding off each other for advice, feeding off each other for, you see guys on the course playing. For seeing Elvis today, I saw he was at 3 under at one point. I saw Leashy was up there at 6 under, and you're kind of doing the maths in your head, working out what everyone is based on what the team score is. Because it's kind of when you're out there playing the other three on your team, they're the only scores you actually really care about. So, I mean, it's been an unbelievable experience. I think the last 3 years for me, from a person being involved in it. The amount that I've been able to learn off the other, definitely, the other 4 guys, obviously had Jonesy on the team for my first couple of years, and then Elvis coming in this year. The amount that's benefited my game, and I know at times it doesn't look like it with the results I've had in the last couple of weeks, but I know internally I've become a better player in the last 3 years, and I know that that's because of the experience of being in the team aspect. It's the conversations that we've had over dinner. It's the conversations we've had on planes going to the next event. It's just invaluable, and I think there'll be a point in the future where I have a result, I have a win somewhere that I'll be able to really credit to the experience I've had being, on the Rippers, and on top of that as well, going back to Australia and seeing the impact we can have on golf there, seeing how many kids are turning up, whether it be to the tournaments, whether it be to the clinics that we're playing, whether it be to some of the smaller events that some of us are able to get back and play. Leash going back and playing some events in WA. I've played the New South Wales Open a couple of times. Seeing the kids out there with Ripper hats on, it really feels like you're making a difference. And it really, despite all the negative things that you're consistently seeing on social media all the time from different outlets, that's the sort of stuff that really makes it feel like it's worth all that.
Great. Thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow.